James Turner for the untouchable true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so interesting stuff coming out of the PBC camp and the welterweight division. Manny Pacquiao, he's not done, guys. You know, it's 2025. He's closer to 50 than he is, 40 or 30 or any of those, youthful years. But he's still kicking. He still wants to fight. And, we saw him just fight Mario Barrios early in the year. And it's been reported that Manny Pacquiao in his next fight will now challenge for the WBA welterweight title against none other than Rolando Romero. They're talking about finalizing that deal. It's not completely finalized yet, but I want to talk about just the potential for that matchup and what I think about it. Because Manny Pacquiao, in conjunction with Sean Gibbons and Manny Pacquiao Promotions, are planning on doing their first U.S. show ever, right? As a lead promoter. So that being said, it's gonna be interesting, that fight, because Manny Pacquiao, he still moves laterally pretty well, but we know Rolly's a great athlete too. We know Rolly, very explosive, very physically strong. He has he's better than people I've given him credit for. I've always said this even before he beat Ryan Garcia, that when you really think about it. And, I want to give credit to Sean Zattel because he's also said this. When you think about it, Rolly is a guy that probably is one of the most talented fighters in boxing because, he started boxing at 17 years old, right? Very, very, very late in the game, late starter. So mind you, he's in a weight class with guys like Shakur, guys like Gervonta Davis, guys like Devin Haney. These fighters that have, Ryan Garcia, who he beat, fighters that have been boxing since they were kids. And, I've seen Rolly, he's knocked out Olympians like Anthony Yigit. He beat Ryan Garcia, who was, top U.S. amateur. Been boxing since he was a kid. Fought Tank, fought Barroso. I mean, his resume, when you think about it, is crazy. And now he's fighting Manny Pacquiao. They're trying to make him fight Manny Pacquiao. So, you want to talk about a gap in experience. I mean, the gap in experience between Manny Pacquiao and most fighters is very, very large. But the gap in experience between Manny Pacquiao and Rolly is even larger because Rolly was such a late starter in his career. But, Father Time is undefeated, and time waits for no man. And where Rolly doesn't have experience, he can recoup for it in his athleticism, in his explosiveness, in his punching power, in his ruggedness. So I think it's an interesting fight if it happens. And I don't know if it's more winnable than Mario Barrios because I don't know if there is a welterweight champion in the division more beatable than Mario Barrios. Maybe you could debate between Barrios and Lewis Crocker, but I think it's an interesting fight because, unlike Barrios, Rolly's shorter, so Pacquiao doesn't have to punch up and go reach for him. He's going to be more at eye level, so I think that's going to help Pacquiao at this older age, not having to extend up so much when he punches. Yeah, man, it's interesting. It really is interesting. And if Pacquiao beats Rolly, he's going to break his own record as being the oldest world champion in welterweight history. So that's pretty impressive. He set the record. Now he's trying to break the record he set, like 5 or 6 years ago when he beat Keith one-time Thurman. So really interesting stuff. And I'll say it like this for Rolly. If Rolly beats Manny Pacquiao, like if he actually beat, let's just say worst case scenario, this is like Manny Pacquiao's like Joe Louis Marciano fight, or one of those fights where a guy really, really gets old overnight and gets his brains beaten and gets the crap kicked out of him by the younger fighter. If he knocks out Manny Pacquiao, does something like that, then I'm telling y'all right now, Rolly Romero gonna be like one of the biggest stars in boxing. He's already one of the more notable names in boxing because of the guys he's fought, his personality, these kind of things. But this would take Rolly to another level. And on top of that, yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane. And you know what? One thing I can say about Rolly, like from observing him from afar, and we have some mutual friends, more than one. The Rolly that exists now is not the Rolly that got popular. You understand? Like, he's a new creation in Christ. Like, he's gave his life to the Lord and he's become a Christian, which is beautiful to see. and he's not like cursing as much. He's not like as wild as he used to be. Some people may say that's a bad thing. Some people might say, well, you know, because Rolly is now a Christian, you know, he's now not gonna have that anger, right, that you need to be a fighter. But how can you say that when Rolly, as a Christian, beat Ryan Garcia his best win? So I think that's very interesting, and I think you know, you got two warriors for the Lord fighting each other. So that's like one of the storylines going into the fight. But yeah, Rolly is at a different level mentally, and I think that Ryan Garcia win should do a lot more for his confidence as a fighter, because he knows that not only can he compete with these guys that have more experience with him, but now he's knowing even more now that he could beat these guys that have more experience than him, and he's gonna get that ultimate test against, albeit an old, decrepit, possibly maybe even a shot Manny Pacquiao when they fight, but he's gonna get that chance to really test his boxing IQ against one of boxing's true greats. And it goes to show you guys, when you fight the best, when you actually build value for yourself as a fighter, when you're personable with the fans, when you're someone that is worth people's time and attention, you can stumble into opportunities like this. So as the old saying goes, closed mouths don't get fed, and Rolly has had a closed mouth over the years. So style-wise, it's an interesting fight, because I think Rolly is a more athletic fighter and a more explosive fighter than Mario Barrios, but he's also shorter, so Manny Pacquiao don't got to reach up at him as much. So it might actually bode well for Pacquiao. And Rolly's not a high-volume puncher, right? So if he's not able to get Manny Pacquiao's timing down, I can see Manny Pacquiao outworking Rolly to a decision, because I think in this fight, Manny Pacquiao is going to be the busier fighter. So I think Rolly's path to victory is counter-punching him, and when he lands those big counter shots, coming forward and using that physical strength and youth on Manny Pacquiao. But that's the news, guys. PBC, Manny Pacquiao Promotions, and all parties involved, they are planning a Rolly Romero Manny Pacquiao fight very, very soon. So we'll have more details on this as things come out. Make sure you guys just keep it locked. You know, I'm gonna cover this as more develops. But yeah, leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe. You won't be disappointed.